Star Wars 7x7, episode 1967. Today, I know that Daisy Ridley has said Rey maybe spends more time with C-3PO than any other character in the movie, but that could be read two ways, and for a fact of the matter, we know now at least 6 different locations in which Rey and Ben Solo are going to appear together, and possibly a 7th as well. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode, and thank you to everyone who had such lovely, kind words to say since I actually revealed that I was feverish while recording yesterday's episode. Thankfully, the fever is broken, but I'm just fighting off a cough now, so I will spare you all the takes where I end up coughing in the middle of them. It's one thing to admit that you're recording with a fever, but it's another thing to make you have to listen to all the time. So don't worry, I'm going to spare you that. But this is the thing that I couldn't quite get my brain together about yesterday, and so I figured we'd talk about it today. Kylo Ren and Rey, Ben Solo and Rey, we have seen them now in a lot of locations together, and so that bit about Rey saying that she spends more time with Threepio than any other character in the movie, well, I thought about that and I thought, okay, this is why it's bothering me, because read one way, it means that of all the characters that spend time with Rey, that Threepio spends more time with Rey than other characters spend with Rey. But alternatively, the other way to read that is of all the other characters around Threepio, that Rey spends more time with Threepio than other characters spend with Threepio. So, yeah, I think that might actually be the more accurate representation of things comparatively. And that would allow for the possibility that Rey spends a lot of time with Kylo Ren in this movie as well. And that seems to be being backed up by scenes that we've already seen in the teaser, in the trailer, in the D23 footage, and now with the images from Entertainment Weekly and the end commercial. So all of this official information that we've gotten is showing Rey and Ben together in multiple settings. The one that we've known about for a while is them on Kef Bir together, the moon where the Death Star wreckage is. So there's one scene of them fighting a lightsaber battle on top of the wreckage in the middle of the ocean, okay? So that's one. Another scene, and so yes, this may be a continuation thereof, is inside the Death Star wreckage itself, where the two of them are facing each other inside the wreckage of the Emperor's throne room. So that's another setting where they are sharing some sort of scene together. And there's a third that, we haven't exactly seen them together in this scene, but just the way that things have been shown to us makes me think that they are in the same place together. This is also on Kef Bir, and it has to do with the scene where Rey is facing Emperor Palpatine, or what we believe to be Emperor Palpatine based on what we've been shown. Because there is that other scene where you see Ben Solo walking away from his TIE fighter, and it's a dark, stormy, lightning-filled background, and he appears to be walking on concrete of some kind, and it looks similar to the kind of concrete that Rey is standing on when she's facing either the Emperor's throne, that new design based on, or the new throne based on the design from the the design from Return of the Jedi, from the initial design sketches from it, or where she's standing, where she sees what appears to be that chair kind of walking toward her with somebody in it and Palpatine's laughter and whatnot. So that's seems to be a third place where the two of them may well be together. So there you go, that's 3 so far. And then our fourth one is a new one that was shown in the end commercial, and that is Rey and Kylo Ren meeting each other on Kijimi. So that little snow-dusted planet where we're going to meet Zori Bliss and also our little droid smith character, Babu Frick. He and Zori and Kylo and Rey are all going to be on Kijimi at some point. So that's 4. A fifth one has to do with a Star Destroyer. We don't know what Star Destroyer Kylo Ren is going to be using at this point, since the Supremacy was trashed in The Last Jedi. But somewhere on some Star Destroyer, he has a room of his own, and he invites Rey to his room to check out his albums and see his collection of weird things like his melted grandfather's helmet and that sort of thing. So we know that Rey is going to be in his room hanging out with him somehow. And there's also now, thanks to that end commercial, a scene where we see Rey in a landing bay, in a docking bay on a Star Destroyer, and she makes that crazy leap through the magnetic field to the Falcon's landing ramp, and it does look like Kylo is not exactly trying to stop her in that moment, even though all those stormtroopers are there, and then they're getting blown back by the prop wash, for lack of a better, from the Falcon's engines. But Kylo isn't reacting facially like, don't go, or anything like that. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting in its own right. But that would be a 6th setting that we've seen them together in. And there is one more that, this is another one of those, like that third Kef Bir one, where it seems like they're in the same place at the same time. We just haven't seen them on screen together. And it's the only location that we've been shown so far where at least one of them is, and we don't know for sure where the other one is. That's a lot of talking around it, so I'm going to take a breath and get a drink of water, and we'll talk about it when we come back. Stay tuned. Hey Rebel Rouser, I've made some changes to the asteroid belt level at patreon.com/SW7X7, and they are all with sponsors in mind. So if you want to get the word out about your business, your product, your service to a dedicated Star Wars audience, then please check out patreon.com/SW7X7 and look for the asteroid belt level for details. Again, that's patreon.com/SW7X7. Welcome back. I'm joined in studio by our intern Kato here, and I don't know if the microphone's picking him up purring, but the 7th and final location where we've seen Rey for sure is the planet Pisana. That's the desert planet where we know for sure that the Knights of Ren are going to appear at some point, because we saw that in behind-the-scenes photos where the Knights of Ren were costumed and talking with people behind the scenes. So we know the Knights of Ren are going to be there, but as far as Kylo Ren himself, we don't know for sure. There is that TIE fighter that we see flying. This is, of course, at the very beginning of the very first teaser, and, it looks like it's Kylo's hands, and at a later point we see him in a cockpit, but we don't know for sure if this really is him. I mean, probably. But anyway, that would be our 7th location for them to be potentially sharing time together on screen, and boy, that seems to mean that they're spending a lot of time on screen. So make of that what you will, and that is going to do it for this episode today. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.